You're live.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michelle Mraz.
I'm Brian Swanson.
We are Denim and Pearls
Business casual
with pearls of wisdom
from the poach.
from the porch.
So what's up?
It's nothing but a hound dog.
Oh, okay. You're going to go right on into it. Today's topic, hound dog. Why hound dog? Because we got a new puppy.
He's got a new puppy.
I got a new puppy.
I'm not insane.
And it's the fun part about puppies are, which is what we want to talk about today, is they're crazy. I mean, I can understand why some people call them, parts of their family, whatever.
They're my babies.
Babies and fur babies and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, I've had puppies before, don't get me wrong, but we've actually put in this one through training, and it's some rationalization when the trainer says, well, would you for instance, one of the big things is letting people pet your puppy. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't. Would you let people pet your kid?
Or come talk and hold your kid, yeah.
And hold your kid and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, oh, there is somewhat of a rationalization behind this. And then, of course, that leads into the fact of puppy proofing your house. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Well, that stuff that's down on their level. Oh, so we're toddler.
You're toddler training. Well, you've got to think, just like a human child, puppies explore the world with their mouth.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Everything has to go in their mouth for them to figure out, is it edible? Can I get through it? Can I chew it? Same thing with humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like learning the fact that they all go through their stages, just like everything else is, but it's being more aware of the stages where when they chew stuff or when they bite you, they're not necessarily biting you to bite you. They're biting you to see how much it's going to hurt. How much can they bite?
They're testing their jaw muscles.
Exactly. And then I guess once they get into a certain age, and it starts at certain, they've got all these patterns they go through their weeks, and biting your hand, or whether they're going to gnaw on something because they're teething. There's all these crazy little things that go along with it.
There's a learning curve for both the puppy and the humans who are with them.
Oh my goodness. And then of course, I always thought training was another level, because I mean, over the years, I don't remember ever doing training with any of the puppies and the dogs that we had. You just kind of expected them to do what you told them to do. Which is definitely not a true case. They don't understand English, y'all.
They understand tonality, and that's one of the things I'm big about. Is you can say anything, but you say it in a nice tone, and people take it nice. You say it in a mean tone, people take it mean. The puppy is learning your tone. So when you say stop, and you do stop, they do, huh? What does that mean? So it's a definite stop. Or down, not, no, baby, go down. No, it doesn't work that way. Same with a baby, with a human. You can't give them mixed signals with your voice.
Yeah, and it's not just kids either. I think there's some people out there that, even adults, that need to be trained.
That's because they've been trained as a child with the vocal tones are different. Yeah, it's ingrained into us. So like with me, if I hear anyone do, and you need to do this now, I think they're mad.
Yeah.
And they're actually trying to encourage you. You need to do this now. Get off your butt and go seek your dreams. And I always sit there in the chair, I'm in trouble. But it's my...
I've been sent to the principal's office.
Yes, it's my how I interpret tonality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what kind of tonalities do you react
to? Depends. If that's a direct question, that
I'm
answer
looking out.
Depends.
Looking out. And see, and I learned that when the vocal tone goes down and it's softer, I'll listen. And so one of my aunties, I call her Auntie Sexy, but her name is Auntie Elizabeth, and I always call her Auntie Sexy, is that she was the one who would do, Mimi, what did I say? And I would do. It's her vocal going down meant she didn't like what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And it was weird because I learned that from her. And then in my father or my mother, they would do, what are you doing? So it was a different level.
Well, we've talked about that before. Many, just tonality, and intent of what somebody's saying to you or what you say to somebody else and how they interpret it. I mean, it's bad enough we talk about the tonality of text
Well,
or
you have to
any
remember,
other kind of written communication.
written communication is read in whatever mental
Mood you're in, yeah.
the other person's in. So
Right.
when you write it, you might be writing it as, I'm really tired of this and I would really like you to do this. And they read it on the other side, I'm really tired of you. And they do, oh, it's done. It's over. It's like, no, I'm just saying it. So remember, when you're writing a text or an email or whatever you're writing, that the other person's going to read it in whatever emotional state they're in. So be careful with your words.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I had a conversation with Paul yesterday, and I were talking about it a little bit, where he has a friend who developed a company where he does mysteries, murder mysteries. Well, it's all the same murder mystery. It's all the same act. However, every time they do a show, it's voted on and who's the guilty one, whoever, did the murder, committed the murder. And the audience always chooses, which means it's written so that it can be anybody. But it's also going to be dependent on, which I didn't think at the time,
the personalities in the room.
The personalities in the room and the personality of the crowd.
And the thing is in those kind of rooms, people think, I've been to the murder mystery, and I remember watching the room doing, oh, that one's a hired actor. Oh, that one, no, not hired. Oh, that one's I bet you they're the guilty one because they're acting different. And
has absolutely nothing to do with any of it.
We were all non-actors. We were all part of the game.
Well, if you were in a true murder mystery, you would look at the personalities. You would look
because there's actors in the room.
Right.
But yeah.
You would actually try and solve the mystery based on the responses and the body languages and all that other kind of stuff.
So you're looking at us right now and doing Hound Dog, and how does this have anything to do with the pearls of wisdom from the porch for my business and my life? It has everything to do with it.
It has everything to do with it.
Because we're all nothing but hound dogs. I mean, we all respond to tonality and written tonality of what we see. And you've got to see your client, your person who you are, your, what do you call it? Your avatar.
Your avatar.
What is your avatar looking for? When we are doing business, we aren't throwing a big well, you shouldn't be setting a giant net out. You should have someone in your head know, I'm talking to this one person with this kind of need. Well, what do they have? Well, they're more than likely they're from a one-parent home and they've worked from high school through and they're tired. I mean, whatever it is, but you go back into where that person's mindset is when you set your marketing.
Well, I'm just looking that always, when that topic always comes up, I always think of that person who sits in a networking group and says, I do skincare. What kind of person are you looking for?
Everybody.
Anybody with a skin. What? No, you're not.
Anybody who has skin with this prone or this and are looking for a solution.
Yeah, you've got to be a little bit more specific on who you're looking for.
Because some people don't want to deal with their skin. Some people, they're like, I'm fine.
Right. Well, it's that. It's also your age demographic. Sometimes you're looking for a younger demographic, or you're looking for an older demographic. It all depends on where your target market is. Mm-hmm. But you've got to know what that target market is. You can't just say, I need
it's not
somebody
skin.
with skin.
I'm looking for humans with skin. No?
And money. That's the other thing. Nobody ever qualifies that. Somebody with skin and money.
Yeah, someone who has the disposable income to spend on their skin.
But they could be like Reba and spend $10,000 a month on their.
And they want to worry about their skin. And I remember going in high school, I had horrid acne. I mean, just horrid acne. And yeah, you can't tell anymore, huh? But that oily skin, I was desperate to get rid of it because it was horrid. So when someone says skincare, I'm looking for all skin. My friends had really nice complexions and I didn't. So I would have been the one wanting to care about my skin.
Right. Well, usually when somebody makes that statement, and I'm only picking on skincare people.
Oh, yeah, it was just easier.
But when people make that statement, that usually means that they're new to the business. They're new to learning so they're like a puppy. They have to learn their stuff.
Well, actually, that's a good analogy in general. If you're new to your business, if you're new in your business, and I'm saying new within 5 years, okay? You're still learning your demographic. So you need to be figuring out who is buying from you, what demographic has been buying from you, what demographic do you click in well. You may be one person, but when you go out, a very particular group of people like to be around you, that kind of thing. Start learning your parameters, because not everyone needs your product. And like with me, when I first started talking, I was a speaker, and they say, who do you speak to? I do everybody. And they said, what kind of people? And so I would do, well, my background's in engineering. I like to go talk to engineers. Well, I went to engineers, and I was too lively for that engineer group. So I'm like, okay, not them. And then my friend's like, oh, I need you to come out and speak to this group of accountants. I was also too lively for them. And then they moved me.
I think anybody's too lively for an accountant. Most accountants, stereotypically,
needed to settle down. But when I moved into the political arena, and I was, I would go to events and speak for one of the politicians I was representing, that was more of my demographic, people who were looking for an answer outside of themselves. And so then I realized, okay, I'm not speaking to everyone. I'm speaking to people who want change. And then from that, I went from people who want change in the world to people who decided, oh no, if I want change in the world, I want change in myself. Okay, what kind of change? And so it slowly moved down to people are looking for change in themselves in order to do something bigger and leave a legacy in the world and change the world. And it's like, oh, well, that.
Okay, so I'm going to bring it back to the puppies.
Okay, I was just trying to keep it.
I know where you were going. But with the puppies, one thing that we learned that I did not know, when you're training a puppy, it depends on the environment you're in. They may do it in one environment, say your house, or you're just plain and simply in your living room. They'll follow commands, but then you turn around, and you put them in your bedroom, or you put them in the kitchen.
It's a new environment. New rules.
New rules. Environments are totally different. Or outside, if it's a front yard or the backyard, or if it's walking down the street. Those are all different learning environments for the same thing. So, we all think that when we teach a dog to sit, it's going to sit no matter where it's at. That's not always the case, I guess. I didn't know that. So relating that back to business, the same goes with your client and your customer base. They may not want to talk to you in a networking group. They might want to talk to you on a one-on-one. They might want to talk to you at the kitchen table. There could be different environments they need to be in, because there was a time there when everything was, in business, you always took the big client or whatever. If you wanted to sell them something, you took them to dinner, or you took them to a strip club. Oh yeah, that was big at one point. You took them to some place that they were fun and they were entertained and they were having a good time. So it all depends on your client. It all depends on the mood that they're in. Because if you want to take a client who, let's just say, is in an angry mood because everything has been a bad day, and you take them to a strip club, that might not be the perfect environment for your sale. You need to take them someplace else where they can, maybe a calmer dinner kind of a thing, as an example.
You have to read the person.
Yeah, you have to understand a person. And we do all this stuff, and we're taught different traits throughout our lives. Another one that I can think of is, as somebody who's being recruited, in other words, for a job or something like that. Remember, there was a big deal of whether you put salt and pepper on your steak and
before you
tried it. Or some people put ketchup on their steak, but then they didn't get the job because they put ketchup on their steak. Those little traits may mean something to the employer or whoever's hiring you.
Basically.
Nowadays, it's whatever you say in your resume that goes online, but then it comes into place when you goes personal.
What you put on your resume and what you put on social media.
Oh, that too. Definitely.
Yeah. So what kind of hound dogs do you have?
Or what kind of hound dogs are you looking for? Because every it's like I just learned about basset hounds last night. Did you know the word basset comes from the fact of low to the ground, and et means very low. That's why they're basset hounds. But they were trained to go looking for rabbits. I did not know that. I just found that out, and then I was like, myself, and that's because we have a basset hound in our class. And one of the things that I was wondering is, why are their ears so big? Because the one basset they brought in, his ears dragged the ground, of course, and then he stepped on him and he kind of hurt himself. He did it to himself, but still a puppy. But come to find out, it's because their ears actually scrape up the scent into their nose.
Cool.
I did not know that.
Well, I know my little terrier is a mouser. Because when he gets on, those what do we call it? The little hyper times when they run around in circles. A dog just goes crazy and they zoom all over the place. Yeah, my little dog, he can catch a mouse. He is fast and he can jump almost. I mean, as high as I am.
Mhm.
And it's like, why in the world does he need to do that? Oh, that little boy's a mouser. He can chase things. He can get under things fast. It's like, oh, how cute.
Well, that's like Linda last night, who's the instructor. She brought up Labradoodles, and she says we have taken over time. We have taken the friendliest dog there is, and bred it with somebody that can jump. So, what do you think Labradoodles do? They're friendly, but they want to always be. They always want to jump on you. Now, training them, that all becomes different things too. But it's, I mean, whether you're training your client or training your employer, let's say, I mean, you've got there's always training. We're always learning. Just like that's why I brought this up, is because of puppy dogs.
Well, the other reason I think he brought this in is subconsciously. Brian and I do team training, team building. We do team building. And that's one of the things is when we teach is, how are you reading this other person? How is that other person reading you? How are you saying your words and how are they responding to you? You can judge very quickly why people don't get along on a team. And it's usually something very simple. It's a misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. So if you're ever interested in us doing that, we can come out to you, and especially if you're in Colorado, that's a lot easier.
It's a whole lot easier.
But if you're in another state, country, but you'd have to fly us out. But we do team training and we play games, but we use psychology of how people interact in order to help your teams work better together. And what happens when teams work better?
Production goes up.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
So that's one of a little tidbit you don't know about us.
And then it also turns into more money.
Yeah. But that's
production, more money.
You don't know we do that, but we do that.
And we have fun ways of doing it too.
Yes. So you ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Now we did go directly to Hound Dog. I did that mainly because of the title.
Song.
The title of the song title for the episode, of course. But Hound Dogs, they're hunters.
Mm-hmm.
They're
You didn't know that?
Yeah, I knew that. That's why I said. So how do we relate hunting the hound dog to business?
How?
That's what I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
You're the one who brought it up.
It was kind of a rhetorical, indirect question. Never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Well, and the reason why hound dogs and hunting, hound dogs have high scent. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Here's an example that I know very easily. In the Mary Poppins. You remember when they're on the merry-go-round horses and they do tally-ho, and there's like a fox takes off? Well, what they do is there's a smell that they give to the hound dogs, and the hound dogs aren't watching. They're smelling and they're going. Mm-hmm. And in your business, it's the same thing. Remember I said you need to know who you're looking for, who your product and service is actually for. And then you don't look because you will misjudge. You find them.
You smell out your next client.
You smell them out because they're showing all the attributes that you are actually marketing for. You don't throw the big net. You find out what they need, what they want, what's their core, and you smell out that core, just like a hound dog smells out the smell of a fox.
Well, sometimes you have to. I'm gonna butt you on this.
Well, I was trying to get you to answer the damn question, and you wouldn't do it.
I have to butt you on the wide net concept. I understand throwing the wide net. You're not always looking for everything that's out there, but if you look at it in accordance with fishing, you throw out a wide net. You don't always get just crab or just tuna.
No, you get everything.
You get everything.
Don't
so
you
now
see
you have to sort
don't you see
through
them
it.
On the giant ships? They have everything, and they're throwing things back into the water.
Uh-huh.
And in your business, yeah, you're going to have to throw some things back. It might be, whoa, wow, that money looks really good, but they're really not a good fit.
Now, I would say a wide net would be if you're trying to, let's say you have a crowd of 100, 200, 300, 400 people. You want to cast a wide net in order to narrow it down to what you do want.
Well, at the beginning.
But that's where you're, like, for instance, when you speak, that's where your words come in. That's how you get people to recognize what they're going to be familiar with. That's
and then they come to you.
Who was it we were talking about that actually separated the groups of people? It was all the same mission, but they separated a group of people. I think they separate them by personality types.
Oh, I did that in one of my talks. I did that in one of my personality.
Yeah, there's somebody who I read recently, or not too long ago, that said something like that. And it's the question. Those of you who are interested in finding out more, please come over here and meet with John. Those of you who are ready to go, come over here. And what they're doing is they're breaking it down by the structured, the analytical, the action-oriented. They're breaking it down by the categories, and then each group can be dealt with on a separate personality in order to get them to buy the book, buy the program, whatever. Because you talk to an engineer different than you talk to
I can't remember who said that. But yeah, it's a brilliant idea. And I mean, a lot of you out there aren't speakers that are watching us, but that's really what happens in the speaking room is we see we do have to throw the wide net because we have no idea what's really in the room.
Right.
I mean, if we go into a firm that's an engineering firm, yeah, then we have an idea. But if we're just in a big room of people coming together, we've got to figure out where you are and how you play. And that's what
if you're feeling good about this product, I need you over here.
Yeah, if you want to be in the long-term business, go see so-and-so right there and they'll hook you up. Oh, but if not, if you'd like a one-on-one, come see me. And it's all those kind of things. They're finding out who learns at what level and who wants that kind of different interaction. Like in my business, I just found out, well, I didn't find out, but it's taken me forever to move on it. I like stages. I like talking to large groups, and I love video. But what I'm finding out is some of you out there want one-on-one. Then some of you never want to talk to me in real life. You only want to have the video that you can learn from me without ever meeting me until you feel comfortable with the topic, and then you'll come to me.
Did you know I was scared to death of video at one point?
Yeah.
I love sound, but I hated video.
You've got a face for radio.
This is true. I'm not going to argue that. But I hated video. It wasn't because of my appearance. It was because I felt that, and I mean, this is going back years and years and years, that video was more permanent record than audio.
Okay.
So I was always scared that on video, I would say something that could always come back to me later.
Both do.
Both do. I know that now. So it took me a while to get in front of a camera like this. This was years ago, so it's not like podcast was new.
Well, no, a lot of you out there, I know, because a lot of you have written, you're so brave to be on video. A lot of people don't like video. I mean, especially when I do presentations, there are a lot of people, because I always say, turn on your cameras. I want to see your eyeballs. It's because I want to see how they're reacting so I know where I'm going to go next. Because I could go one tangent, another tangent, but if their eyes are doing, or
they're occupied with something else. Yeah,
I know where to go. So turn on your cameras. It's okay. It's not a scary thing. And like Brian's fear was, it's going to be permanent.
It was real permanent.
It's okay.
Now we have 179 episodes of permanency out there. And none of them's come back at me yet.
You do realize that how long have we been together on this podcast?
3 years?
Yeah.
Almost 3 years.
Our anniversary was last week.
Was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. You know how I knew? LinkedIn said, congratulate Brian on Denim and Pearls. Yeah. I'm like, it's been that long? Holy smokes, it's been that long. Yeah, we've been doing this show for a long time, so it's about time we pick up some speed. So
this episode 179 right here. Marcel says, if you overthink it, that's what gives you a challenge about going in front of people.
Yeah,
that just makes you scared.
No, and I
but you still, going back to our topic, that you still have to learn it.
Yeah.
You have to be like a puppy. You have to find out what is going to happen. That's one of my big things when I analyze stuff. If I want to do something new, I'm almost terrified to push that button on the computer, because if I don't know what's going to happen, I will delay and I will come back to it later. If I come back to it.
If you come back to it.
If I don't know what it's going to do to my computer or what it's going to do my program or whatever I'm working on, I'm scared to death of pushing that button sometimes, because I don't want to have to redo it.
And as Marcel said, the overthinking will mess you up.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing is, if you want to do it, go do it scared. The worst thing that happens is you're right where you started. Nothing moves. But the best that can happen is, wow, you get closer to what you want. And so that's why people, like I always say, join Toastmasters if you want to be a better speaker. If you want to get sick, if you feel like you're getting sick every time you go to a networking meeting, they say, stand up and tell us about yourself for 30 seconds. You're like, ah!
I can give you an example.
Go to Toastmasters or something, because you are always talking a little bit at a time, and you realize with repetition, just like a puppy in training, you get rewarded. Good job. Whatever that is, keep doing it, because sooner or later, just like a puppy, you're going to learn when someone says, stand up and speak, you'll do, I got this.
Well, do you know where karaoke is just like that? I just realized that.
Mm-hmm.
Karaoke is the same place. I have so many people come up and say, I've never sang in front of people. I have stage fright. I don't know if I can do this. And no, hell no, I'm not doing this. I mean, you get all these different types of people, but once they grab a hold of a mic and they sing the first time, and they get applauded because people in the crowd understand. They're like, you've taken, that one step closer to becoming a karaoke person or a performer or whatever it is. Because you might have sucked the first time on the mic, but you're still going to get rewarded with the applause.
You might have sucked on the first time you went up, but you were brave enough to get up, and that's
the biggest
better
part.
Than the other groups of people who haven't bothered to get up. And so back to the networking thing, when you get scared standing up in front of people to tell them what you do or why you represent whatever you represent, understand that everyone after you is scared that they're next.
Yeah.
And know that the people who are immediately after you, the 5 right next to you, none of them are hearing you, because they're so afraid. And they're trying to remember, my name is Michelle, and I do this, and my name is Michelle, and I do this. And they stand up and you do, hi, I just forgot. And they start laughing. It's because we're all in the same boat. I'm a professional speaker, and I still do, what do I want to say? I've only got 30 seconds. And I always change it because I do so many things.
Right.
I mean,
well, there are those people who will, it's a good practice to get into. Those who learn their 30-second and they repeat it verbatim, word for word every time they get up. And I've seen it where they stop in a pause because they want a reaction from the crowd. Well, I'm telling you what, after going to 20 different networking groups with that same person, it gets redundant. And it's like, change it up a little bit, but that's how they're comfortable in doing it.
Yeah.
But now that they're comfortable, they should be changing it to their own. It's just like scripting. If you phone scripts or whatever, if it's sales scripts, you learn the script that's important to you, but then you make it your own. You use your own personality in that script and change it.
We actually suggested this a while back on one of the other podcasts. If you're in a networking group, I want you to suggest to who's in charge of that, to have everyone introduce the person to their right.
Oh, yeah. Well, we used to do that too with throw the cards into a bowl and you pull out somebody else's name. Yeah. And then you've got to talk about them, introduce them. Yeah. Which also, it does 2 different things.
You find out what the person's really saying. You find out what you're really saying, because that's what everyone remembers.
Yep.
And then the other thing is, it keeps everyone on their toes to realize, I'm not saying what I really want to say.
Well, the third thing is too, it also tells you whether your business card's any good.
Yeah, if they can do it.
It's like having your name on it and not putting anything else but your name and your phone number or name and email. Some business cards out there are garbage. They don't make any sense, but they got their name on it. Here's my card.
And some of us don't have business cards.
Some of us don't use them.
Yeah, I don't use them.
You know why I don't use them?
Why?
Because I want somebody to ask me who I am. It's like name tags. I hate name tags too.
You know why I don't use them?
I love reading people's name tags.
I don't use them. I don't use business cards because I get so many of them. I can't track them.
Oh, that too.
So what I do is I usually take pictures. I'll take a picture with you because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? I'll never forget your face. And then with your picture, I put it on your profile on my phone, and then I put your name and everything, and then I put under comments or company, I'll put your company, the state I've met you in, and what event I'm at.
Mhm.
And then in the notes, I'll put wearing red shoes with matching glasses or something that would trigger me to remember why I talked to you. Because if you're in my phone, you're an important person. I've met you. I liked you. I like you. I want to see you again.
So we just gave 30 minutes of puppy training.
Life training.
I just thought about that. What we're doing is we're giving a whole lot of training today, a lot of rationalizations, a lot of ways of figuring different things out, a lot of ways of doing business, a lot of ways of relating with other people.
Well, because
a lot of ways of learning, getting over fears.
We're all guilty of this, of making things more complicated than it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a puppy, if you have a kitten, you are training them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it to yourself too. You have to train yourself, and you have to train your
Mm-hmm.
employees. That's why training is important. That's why, team building is important. That's why doing these things that you do, oh gosh, we got to do this again. It's important because we are all basically puppies when it comes down to the bottom line, and we have to be reminded who we are, how we interact, and how we can move forward.
We can't do training without homework, so everybody needs to go practice this.
It's not practice. It's just be the best you.
I kind of made it funny, but it's really kind of true.
Mm-hmm.
You take what we've said and go, if you think that you need work in one of those areas we just talked about, because we talked about a lot of them, work on it.
Yeah.
Put it, step out of your comfort zone. Learn something new.
And no one starts out perfect.
No, just because you're an old dog doesn't mean you can't learn a new trick.
Yeah.
See how I did that?
Up the game. Up the game. Up the volume. Up the volume.
All right. Well, don't forget to like and share. This has been a fun little show. Mm-hmm. So don't forget to like and share. Tell your friends about us. Do all those other fun things.
And if you need team training, team building, write us.
Team building. Let
us know. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I want to get out. I want to do more.
That sounds like fun.
Okay, so go be the best version of you unapologetically. My name is Dr. Michelle Maras.
And I'm Brian Swanson.
We are Denim and Pearls. We are
business casual
with pearls of wisdom.
From the poach.
Have a great weekend. Oh, and to all you dads out there, happy Father's Day.
I forgot about that.
Have a great week. We'll see you next week, Friday.
Peace.